Hey everyone, Grayson the Bard here, and welcome back to day 66 of the Hunt Today. I'm gonna jump right into it, much like this quest does. Today we are fighting Zero Ryusu, who is, as you will see, a weird version of Rathalos, and I'm gonna get into that because I actually think that these monsters that this guy is a part of are really cool, and something that, while I don't necessarily want to see again, I think the idea is really neat. So, Zero Ryusu is one of, I think, five-ish monsters in Frontier who are members of a classification known as burst species. And what burst species are is a couple of things. One, they are meant to be kind of like distant relatives of a base game mainline monster. This is like a Rathalos's distant cousin kind of deal. And also, I am getting this information off the relatively dubious and not always trustworthy Monster Hunter wiki. Apparently, they're also supposed to be, like, from the design team, what these monsters would look like if they were combined with some kind of tool. Like, the example they give is and this is going to be a spoiler for when I eventually fight this thing, Diablos and an oven. So, while I was fighting Zero Ryusu this morning, I was really racking my brain trying to think of, well, what kind of tool could this possibly be? And then I read a little bit more about the lore of this thing, and apparently it will take in sunlight and then use that energy in its attacks to augment itself. So maybe this is Rathalos meets solar panel. I'm not sure. What do y'all think? But anyway, getting on to the fight. It's a Rathalos. It uses the standard Rathalos skeleton, at least the second and third generation version of it, and has all of the moves you would expect. It's got the Flying Wyvern tail swipes, it's got Rathalos's bites, but it throws in a bunch of new moves as well. Zero Ryusu is the only monster in Frontier that utilizes the light element, which is a combination of thunder and fire. And it uses that in a couple of ways, with very wide sweeping breath beams in replacement of Rathalos's usual fireballs. It will occasionally shoot out these homing lasers from the sky using that light element, and occasionally it will also burrow into the ground and then pop up underneath the hunter doing a Diablos burrowing charge move, leaving a burst of light in its wake. It is a very over-the-top, very silly, very anime monster, and the color palette on this thing is so just bright and in your face. It really doesn't feel like a Monster Hunter creature. It feels like something I would see in a Xeno Saga, Xenoblade game as a Monster Hunter crossover, more so than an actual monster itself. And as much as I love the color palette of the white and the blue, I think it's really striking and it hits that part of my brain just right. I don't really like him. I don't like the way he looks. I like everything on paper, but just everything coming together, I'm not a huge fan. I do, however, really enjoy the fight. It is really fun and continues to amp up as you progress throughout the fight, as you deal damage. He uses more moves, he augments himself in interesting ways. I learned that apparently the way that you play and the weapons you're using against him actually change his moveset in the next, in the second phase of the fight. You'll see as the fight goes on, he uses light to grow these, big crystal growths on parts of his body. I know he augments his legs, and I know he augments his tusks in this, or his face in this hunt, giving, very big, chonky legs that are defended against, being toppled and knocked over, which Rathalos are usually pretty weak to. And then for his face, he grows these long, light crystal tusks and begins using his, bites and begins using his head in attacks a lot more as a way to, disincentivize you from attacking his head. And I learned that is because in the party we have a bladed user who is going after the tail and legs, and then me with the hunting horn who is going after the head. Apparently, if you are attacking his wings, he'll do something else crazy. That I didn't see, so that I don't know a whole lot about. But I was talking, I think, whatever day it was, I'm very tired, about how much I really like when monsters augment their moveset in order to meet what the hunter is throwing at them. It was Wednesday, it was when I was fighting Inagami, I remember now. And so I really like that aspect of his fight. And apparently it only gets crazier in G rank, so I am super excited to fight him later on. I just don't think I like the monster all that much, unfortunately, so I don't necessarily want to see him again, and for a lot of reasons, I don't think he's likely to show up again. I think burst species are gonna be left in Frontier and should be left in Frontier. Every monster I've seen from the burst species kind of family all feels like way over the top. I mentioned Diablos mixed with an oven earlier. They're all that kind of crazy. And with the direction that mainline Monster Hunter has been going lately, I don't think that kind of crazy really has a place in a mainline game. Maybe if they do something similar to the wackiness of Frontier for like a Rise-style arcade game, then sure, maybe. I could see Zeraryuzu coming in because it's a Rathalos. But I think it's a 0 out of 10 for Wilds. And I'm going to say like a low 2 or 3 for coming back in a future game, unless it is a very specifically zany game. But that is about all the time I have for today. I woke up a little bit ago and I'm already exhausted. I spent pretty much all yesterday painting, and I'm probably going to spend all today painting too. So have a good day, everybody. Stick around until the end of the hunt if you can. I greatly appreciate it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't. And until next time, I'll see you next time.